Isaac Meers and Jan Gerits are here to discuss this experience, to share this experience with us, with their presentation, Implementing AI-Driven Workflows During a Year Full of News. Welcome to the stage. All yours. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. We've got some exciting story to tell you. In the last couple of years, last 2 years, I think, we started working AI-driven at our newsroom. We did it, it was cool, and we want to share the story with you. We're from VRT, the Belgian public broadcaster, the Flemish one, actually. So to give you an idea, there are 800 people working in our newsroom. We reach about 75% of all Flemish people. So the scale is clear for you at what we're working at. I'm Isaac, I'm from the technology department, and I have a technology background, so I'm thinking in all the AI stuff and things. But I've brought Jan, he's from our news department, and he is a journalist, and he's doing some crazy shit since last year.
Well, I'm working as a journalist for 25 years now. First half was for the radio, the past 12 years for the TV news, and what Isaac said since, and I don't want to make it sound like a Tupperware party, but my work changed dramatically by using AI in our newsroom, because we started to use transcription on the interviews we did. You're all journalists probably, so you know how it goes. You do interviews, you do long interviews, you come back to the newsroom, and then you have to start listening to it again, writing down time codes, going to the editing room, and then trying to make a report. It's very time consuming, but now we have transcription, and when we ingest our footage, a few minutes later we get it, we select our quote we want to use in the text, and it's immediately selected in the video also. We put it on a sequence, we save it, and we go to the editing room. I don't listen to my interviews anymore because I know what I want to hear and I just can select it text-based. And it saves me a lot of time and a lot of headspace during the day in my job.
And now he's telling it like it's an easy thing and it's a walk in the park. But getting this in the newsroom wasn't a walk in the park. I want to take you back to the end of 2022. We at Technology, we had a problem, or PAM system, or production asset management system, where all the videos of our newsroom were living, was getting outdated, it was getting out of support, and we needed to implement a new system. And we as technology started to think, okay, what can we do? We do want a system that's supported. That was the thing we were missing with the last one. And we want something that's compatible for online flows. We were missing things like vertical video and stuff. It wasn't supported in our old system. And then we thought, oh wow, all these AI services, that's cool. Maybe we want something of that as well. And we had to improve on the collaboration in the system so the journalists could collaborate. So we thought, okay, this is a thing, we're at the end of 22. If we start tendering 23, if we implement 24, I think it's ideal. We can implement it in 24. Looks good for us. What do you think, Jan?
Oh, we said we don't think so, because we're journalists, so we're critical, cynical, we don't like change, we say no all the time. That was one part of the story, but we had a really busy news year. I think it was the busiest news year since I started working. We had elections in June, federal elections, European elections, provincial, federal, the regional elections and the European elections. Something with football in July. We had the Olympics in August, the Tour de France in August. We had other elections, the local ones and the provincial ones in October, and the American elections in November. So everyone was busy already preparing these big news events, and we didn't want to, well, change our video system while we were just producing stuff.
Yeah. Nice news, Jan.
Yep.
It was an issue for us, I think. We needed to do something. So we at Technology thought, okay, how are we going to solve this? Maybe the first thing, we didn't know each other 2 years ago, I think. There was an issue. This is our building in Belgium. Jan was working over there in the news department, and I was working in another building over there, the technology department, and we were quite far from each other. But we thought, normally we take 2 years for a project. Now Jan gave us, let's say, 1 year, 1.5 years, and then
9 months basically.
9 months basically, in which we had to do this. So we thought, okay, we have to work together. We called the news department, said, yeah, we need to do something. Can you lend us somebody who knows how it works with you and how can spread the word we need to spread. And they gave us Jan, so thank you. But it was still a big challenge. And what we did do to achieve this was we started to organize demos. And we as technology know what was possible. And we knew AI was doing a lot of great things. We could do something nice, but the journalists were informed, but they didn't have an idea how it could improve their workflows. So we started to organize demos with vendors that sold systems that were really nice, that had AI integrated in the systems, in the workflows, what they could do, so we could show what they could do with it.
And that was a brilliant idea because the news started to spread through the newsroom because people could see what was possible, how AI could make their job a lot easier, and they were really impressed with what they saw. And also the people from the sports department were really enthusiastic. I think in most newsrooms there is kind of a wall between the newsroom and the sports department because we think what they're doing is not real news and they think what we're doing is quite boring. I got to know these guys and they were friendly, nice. They were nice to hang out with and they were very enthusiastic and they wanted to start immediately with what they saw. And that was the push we needed to move forward with a new system in an impossible year, I would say.
Yeah, then we felt, oh, now we have something. Now we can do something, we can change something at the newsroom because we have let's say a suite that we can give them. It was the AI. So for us it was clear that the AI should be the engine of the change we were going to take. That's when we chose the product. We chose a product we called Meers that integrated AI not as a stupid add-on, but as really integrated in the workflow. It was in the system, and the journalists could use it every day on a day-to-day basis. That was the cool thing we had there. So we started implementing the system, and we started working with the partners, working with support, working with the journalists, because they were involved in the decision of what system we should take. But we didn't want to make a big bang, because working on one system one day and another system the other day, that would cause a lot of issues. So we started working gradually. We made sure that all videos were available in the new system, but also in the old system, so we could take a gradual approach there. And quickly, we could actually provide the journalists with a first version of the tooling, a first version of the thing they could be using in the future.
Yeah, but we still had the issue that it was a hell of a news year, so there was no time to train people. We had to train about 800 people. So we started very, very small with training a few people from the video team of the online department, so they could have a feel how it worked and to get to know the workflows and to realize what we had to improve in the new system. Then we trained one editor working for the TV news and one journalist, and we let them make reports without a deadline. So they had time, they could practice, they could start to be happy about the new system. And when these things worked out, we made a really big plan with the deadline was the elections, the federal elections in June. And we decided we want to change our main news show, the 7 o'clock news, 1 month before the elections. It's a very complicated program, 1 million viewers, very technical, a lot of people involved. Everything is live there. If something would go wrong there, we would have a problem. There would be questions in the parliament, which we don't really like. And then we start to plan to the front. 1 month before the 7 o'clock news, we did a program, it's called the Markt. It's a program about economy. It's recorded on Friday afternoon and it's broadcasted on Saturday morning. If there would be an issue, we would have many hours to solve the problem. And if the program wouldn't be on TV, no one would really care, I think. Then 1 week later, or 2 weeks later, we did the youth journal Gerits. It's recorded at 5 p.m. and it's broadcasted at 6 p.m. So we had 1 hour to solve an issue if there would be one. And then we gradually improved and made it more complicated. And in the end, we did the 7 o'clock news. But in the meantime, we had to train 800 people, which is, believe me, it's a lot of training. So and our bosses said, well, they don't have time for training because they're busy for those big news shows. So we gave very small trainings to people who only had to search, be able to search in the system. We gave longer trainings for people who had to be able to use text-based editing. And then we gave 5-hour training for the editors, the really technical people. And we managed to do that also because the system was very intuitive. You could, well, the system was really helping you to work with it. And then afterwards, we trained other people in the company. And the number 1,000 is the girl there. She was really happy. We gave her a bar of chocolate. That's the amount of money we have for to thank people for following trainings in the company. But we managed, and well, we were really happy that it worked out.
Yeah, and it wasn't because we spent all the money on AI that we only had money for chocolates. We were asked to be smart with what we did. With the money we got, the Belgian government does need to fund other things as well. We're not the only thing.
An army, for instance.
And so now we had a lot of happy people, but the AI isn't for free. You all know that, I think. So we tried to make smart decisions. There was a lot of AI available at the moment in the system as well. But we thought, well, transcription is something from the demos that the journalists like the most, and that could have a lot of benefits. Jan showed the example of text-based editing an interview. I think that's a really big gain from the transcription that could be used by the journalists.
And the bosses knew they couldn't say no to the transcription.
Yeah, indeed. And yeah, you could do magical things, other magical things as well with the transcription, Jan?
Yeah. Well, it's very easy, but you can search on it. We have about, I think, 80,000 items in our system now, and you can also search on the transcription. So it's very easy to go through your interview when you've done it. We have live transcription also, which is really wow. Our main radio station, Radio 1, it's a news station. There's a lot of interviews, and people working for the online department, they use these interviews to make online articles. And before they were sitting at their desk and listening and typing down what they were hearing, and now they have live transcription on it. So it's very easy for them to read the interview and to copy-paste quotes and put them on the website. And I think the most impressive thing we have in the system is translation. You all know this guy is a lot in the news these days. The transcription is in Russian. I don't speak Russian, he does. But you can translate it to whatever language you want. We chose English here. Then you get the translation in English, and you saw the text-based editing. When you select in the English text, it's got in the Russian version. So we make less mistakes on air with translations that aren't quite correct, which used to happen before. So this was really also impressive, especially for the people working on the foreign news desk. They were really excited about this one.
Yeah, and it looks quite simple. It's like transcription. It's one of the things that already exists for a long time in AI. In the past, at VRT, we did have tooling for transcription, for transcribing interviews. But they were used by like a small amount of journalists. They had to export their video, export their interview into another system, transcribe it over there.
I even didn't know it existed in the company.
Yeah, because it was so small, and now it was integrated in our PAM system. It's used by a lot more people, and they all say, "Wow, this is really, really great." We do see it for other AI as well. We have, for example, for our website. We have a system where they write the articles. We also have a tooling now that can generate titles for the journalists. So they have just one click, they press on a button, and they can get a selection of possible titles from which they can choose to add to the article as suggestions. It's not that it's automatically added to the article. They always are the journalists in between. But because it's integrated, it's also used a lot in the system, and not because it's a separate tooling. And I think that's really important here. If you implement AI in a company, it's nice to have like small proof of concepts, and you can test some things out. But once you want your journalists to use it in their day-to-day workflow, it's really good that it's integrated into the systems they are using every day. We also try to be smart in what we transcribed. We could transcribe everything, but it costs a lot as well. So we also limited this to the things we thought were interesting. For example, press agency feeds, parliament feeds, radio feeds, those are the things we always transcribe. But for example, our finalized programs are subtitled by our subtitling department, so they weren't that interesting to transcribe because we had the text of the video. All right, I think we can conclude what we were saying here. And one of the main things I want to say is that do it together with your users. If you want to implement something new system in the company, we made the mistake in the past as technology to say, well, we've got something new for you guys, go. And now we went into it together, actually.
Yeah, and then we got stuff we didn't really want or we didn't know how to use it. That one changed now. And let us try quickly. That was the smart step here to give a feel to make people happy with what they would get. That was a big change and involve the sports department. They're competitive and that's really nice if you want to achieve something and then you can tell to your news department, hey, if they can do it, you can do it too. So that's a big win.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat myself as well. Integrate it in the workflows. You can try it with a separate tool in the beginning, but if you really want it to be used, integrate it in your workflows. And yeah, Jan...
Enjoy the stress, because it sounds like it was an easy walk, but it wasn't. It was a nice walk, but we had a lot of stress. We had sleepless nights. We had to tackle some issues during those 9 months because it was basically technically not possible what we were doing, but we managed. So you will have stress if you make a change like this, but enjoy it.
Yeah, I normally work from 9 to 5, but these days I didn't. I was the newsroom at all days of the week, I think.
And then what's next? Because we're probably not stopping the introduction of AI in the newsroom with Meers. We're thinking about changing or improving our newsroom control system, the system we use for TV shows, radio shows, the online stuff, the website. We want some AI there. If I see the title thing that online has now, I also want it for the TV news, because now we have to make our titles half an hour before the show airs, and the editor is really stressed, like, oh, I have to make titles, and they just have to click and get 5 titles and have to choose which one they want to have. So if there's ideas here, if you have nice things in your newsroom, talk to us. We're here today and tomorrow.
And I'm happy now because he's talking like a technology, people of the technology department, so the journalist is happy.
Okay, I avoid difficult words still.
All right, thank you.
Isaac, Jan, thank you so much. I'm sure this stress, it was worth it, right? It was really worth it, all those stressful days.
We're really happy with the result at the moment, yeah.
So since we're running a little bit behind our schedule, we'll be taking a couple of questions, and of course you can keep sending them, and they'll hopefully will answer everything that you have to ask.
We'll do our best.
So yeah, go ahead if you have any questions for these 2 gentlemen. Let's see. Okay. Was this tool custom developed? Does it use, oh, I have a chrono here. Does it use a specific AI model to perform these tasks?
Yeah, at VRT, we do like to buy things that are existing on the market. We don't customly develop these products because we think the market is mature enough to buy the right product. So we did a tender and we landed with a product, Meers, that's on the market. So we were happy with that. The AI models are plug and play, so we could use our own AI models. At the moment, for example, for the transcription model, we're using another company, Trend, to do the transcriptions for us. But the model, for example, for generating titles was based on, I'm not sure, one of the GPT models, and we trained it, or we added some context for us to implement it there.
Do you have fewer craft editors now?
No.
No,
that's a good question.
Okay,
because that's one thing, and that's what I like. Why I like working there. My bosses are really busy with well-being also. Okay. Since 2 years, there were some issues, and they're now really looking like how can we make life easier, and how can we take away stress from people. And so far, we use AI to do that too.
That's great. Have you had any errors with the translations?
Oh yes. Oh yes, it's still a machine. You have to check it. But for instance, the Russian, we have a few guys in the newsroom who speak Russian, and they say the translation is really good.
Okay.
So, but from Ukrainian to Dutch, that's an issue. It's not always right. But if you translate from Ukrainian to Russian and then to Dutch, it's very good. So,
Okay.
I wouldn't use it for subtitles, but it's good for editing, I think.
we'll figure
it's a
it out.
help.
Do you have more or less journalists?
Same, I think.
Same?
I don't think we didn't do things like that, or we didn't cut on people at the moment. We wanted to improve the way they could work and the quality they could they could deliver. Actually, that was our goal.
Anyone else or anything else you want to add? Oh, here we are. Were you able to assess how accurate? Oh, what is it? Okay, it's gone. Will VRT also focus on generative content with AI? And if so, what do you want to do?
We do, at the moment, do experiments with generative content, but certainly in the news, I think it's difficult to do. We're doing experiments, but not doing anything more with that at the moment. So we don't know what the next steps will be over there.
I see some young journalists using ChatGPT on the sites, but it's not integrated in a system.
And the titles we showed are also some kind of generative, and we also try to generate summaries for our web articles, for example. But we don't. We always keep a journalist or a man in the middle to check everything at the moment. So it's not fully AI at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Were you able to assess how? Oh, no. Okay, they don't want you to answer this question.
I think I've got the gist of the question.
Okay, there you are. Yeah.
We didn't actually measure we did actually measure the correctness when we were tendering our transcription provider, because we did a tender for the transcription provider, and we had some test sets, and we checked which one was the best. But as it is used for text-based editing, some mistakes aren't an issue, because the journalist can read over the mistakes and names aren't always correct. But for selecting the right quotes, it just was enough.
It's helping you. Yeah.
And in that sense, with proportion of journalists were not able to adapt themselves to that new tool in a reasonable time. Was the transition easy?
I remember one, but...
One?
Yeah.
Okay. Was he fired?
But no.
Okay.
It took me a lot of time.
Okay.
But we got there.
Did you answer this one? Did the transcription of interviews happen in-house or by third-party machines?
Yeah, I think we did tender, so we use a cloud provider for us to transcribe our interviews. With the new system, we also made a small move to the cloud. We didn't put all our videos in the cloud, but we're storing proxy versions of them in the cloud to make them accessible for our journalists when they're on the road as well.
Okay, so thank you for your questions. Thank you, Isaac and Jan. Was really interesting.